You're listening to The Blind Chick, an Aftersight original podcast. We're telling you stories about strength, overcoming hurdles, and living experiences. We see who you really are. Blindness can be an adventure. Are you ready for the journey of a lifetime? We are. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of The Blind Chick. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic week. If you haven't listened to this one before, go back and listen to Clark Reynolds part 1 that we did last week. It was such a fun episode, and he's got so much character and personality, and we just love having him on the show. Oh my goodness, it's awesome. But enough of me diving in. You don't want to hear me. You want to hear Penn. Penn, go girl.
And it would be an awesome way, too, for sighted children to learn Braille.
That's right. If Braille's made universal, I know a lot of blind people want to keep hold of this unique language, 200 years old, they want to keep it. But if we don't start to give it to everyone and use it correctly, then we're going to lose it. I always say when we colonize Mars, we should take the Braille dot with us.
Absolutely. Well, my brother who's 2 years older than me, he actually learned Braille, and and he's sighted. He was sighted, and he actually learned Braille so that the two of us could write these secret messages that nobody else would know, right? Because my mom and she was busy raising the other kids, and my dad, and so he was my only sibling that was fascinated with Braille, but we would write these secret messages to each other as kids do, and
it's just you're conjuring up so many images for me, because one with the political aspect, it would be so great for satire. Because you've got a picture and then this secret language that could totally make fun of what you were doing or put out. Oh, I'm not going to explain it really well, but so I'll just end with so many possibilities.
Wow. That is
and
incredible.
I enjoy what I do. I think that's really key. If I woke up tomorrow and think, oh God, I don't really want to do this anymore, and then I wouldn't become an artist. But art is never from the head. It's always been from the heart. And I would say I've had to go blind to bring Braille to the forefront. And I love it. I love what I do. I love being blind. I can't change it, so I've embraced it.
I did want to ask you about this because several years ago here in the United States, there were people that were advocating to not teach Braille to children anymore. And I was, I went to Washington, D.C., and I had quite a few chats with people that how wrong that was. And I was with a group of people advocating against that, right? Because we need Braille. Blind children need to learn Braille. Even adults who are losing their vision need to learn Braille. And I remember using the example of, because they would say, oh, well, blind children don't need to learn Braille because everything is in audio format now. And I was like, well, okay.
Technology.
That's okay. Then we don't need to teach sighted children how to read either. And of course they were like, "Oh no, that would never," But where you are, has that ever come up where they've said, "Oh, we don't need to teach Braille anymore"?
Yeah, well, it's down to Braille's not forced upon. Because I think our education is so different to the US, where it's US you have to learn Braille as you're literate, going forward to your thing. So in the UK, the idea of Braille is not taught as much, but QTVIs do their best they can. But like I said, I just want to make it enjoyable and fun, how we learn ABC as a child. If I use that concept and transfer it to Braille, then we can Braille could be used. I want Braille to be on every public toilet in the UK. That's my aim. But the idea is not up, but by the handle, not up the top where you're kind of saluting a general officer. Who does that? And it could be large as well. I did it in a museum literally in October. the Mary Rose Museum, I've done the first ever large Braille toilet signs. So all you need is an M, an F, a U, or D, male, female, unisex, or disabled toilet, and it's by the handle. So I put my palm out, and because the Braille is in a frame, right? You instantly go, oh my god, I know what gender toilet I am, without trying to hunt for a dot that's never generalised. So that's that I'm just trying to bring Braille into the 21st century. That's all.
Right, and you're bringing it in a fun way. Like it's not sterile and like medical. It's because that's one of the things that because a lot of the Braille signs, even in the United States, they're so sterile and honestly they're ugly. Like why can't we be creative about it?
But unfortunately, I've been to the US a couple of times, right? And you are hands down, whatever people say, your use of Braille is by far 10 times better than the UK. There is no Braille on any hotel rooms in the UK. There is no Braille at any zoos at the UK. There's no Braille on the you call a subway system. We call it the tube. So the underground. So there is no Braille, and that saddens me. That that there should be Braille where that's why we Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
That makes me think. Penn and I were up in Wyoming, and we, as tourists, were visiting the Capitol building for the state, and Penn realizes there's no Braille on any of the bathrooms, and that's just unheard of in this day and age. And so while we're walking around, a bunch of guys in suits, and they came up to us and they said, "Hi," and the guy goes, "I'm the governor of Wyoming."
And I was like, I need to have a chat with
you. And Penn, he goes, "What do you think of our building?" And I said, "Oh, it's beautiful." And Penn goes, "You don't have Braille on your restrooms." And it was, you'd have thought she'd have caught the guy in some scandal, and he just sputtered and sputtered. And he says, "Well, we'll get on that right away."
And they did.
So the idea, if I say, for instance, I got commissioned to work with Disney to basically brand their Braille toilets, right? I would use the most outrageous colours, like colours from. So, for instance, we could look at the colours of Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, right, and use them to create the different signage around the Disney parks based on the colours of the characters.
Yes.
Wow.
And I do love how you use color, because people like me who still have some residual vision that's useful, contrast is huge when you have low vision, and your colors just pop and they're contrasty. So you're not just thinking of people who are totally blind, you're also thinking of people who still have some residual vision. So that's really cool.
And that's the thing, is it? The idea, if you brand it like you would typography, it becomes part of the fabric of the building.
Yes.
Instead of, like I said, that medical afterthought. Oh yeah, we've got to slap on a Braille sign. Let's just do it. But like I say, if you did it, you did it in a way that's sympathetic to the surroundings, and it's like it's always been there, and no one, in that way, it's like lettering. It's always been there.
Wow. Well, that brings a question. Is at least in Colorado, murals on the sides of buildings are really popular here. And do you have that in England? Because the paintings...
So Portsmouth, So Portsmouth is, outside of London, is the highest densely graffitied place in the country.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we've got an artist, ironically, called My Dog's Size. And what he does, he basically paints giant eyes around Portsmouth.
Oh,
wow!
Yeah.
So have you got? And with the graffiti that you're talking about, is that where you're an outlaw and you have to go do it in the middle of the night?
Well, I did want to be part of that art world, but apparently I'm not professional enough, and that gives me onto the kind of that's kind of a good segment in a way. As a blind artist, a lot of people think what I do is a hobby. And especially in the disability art sector, I'm more of a hobbyist because I don't have an MA or a PhD.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. You know,
That
Yeah.
because
yeah.
why can't I? I mean, obviously it's a really tough time of year for me, like Christmas and darkness, right? But I on Instagram at the moment, you've got the biggest art fair outside of Venice happening in Miami, Miami Art Basel, right? And every year I say to myself, right, I'm good enough to be at that art fair, right? I'm good
Yes.
enough to be like with any of those artists. And one day I will, right? But the barriers I face as a blind artist are horrendous.
Yeah, we have spoken to some other artists in different parts of the world, and that seems to be true no matter where you are. Even here in Denver, Colorado, it's Chloe. I know you're a fan of the podcast, but an artist in Denver. She's been doing art for decades and decades and decades, and she finally feels like she's just beginning to break into the art field, not as a disabled artist, but as an artist. But she's still,
and that's what I want.
Yeah, but she still gets calls and commissions to do art for disability projects. And she loves it, she loves that, but she wants to be considered an artist who just happens to be blind,
That's it.
Yeah.
I just say on that. So the idea is, all the art, what we call mainstream artists, right? What they use around them. That's how they see. That's how they become artists. As blind artists, what do we use around us? Well, we use a lot of touch. Obviously, I've discovered Braille. There's no difference to me to like the idea of Damien Hirst, right? And he uses a lot of dots in his artwork. I use a lot of dots in our artwork, but because he's Damien Hirst, I'm Clark Reynolds. It doesn't. Our worlds will never collide.
So, what do you think is the solution? Like, why do you think it's so hard?
We've literally across the world we've put ourselves in this tick box exercise, right? The idea, all these form things like, are you disabled? Yes. Vision impaired? Yes. We can't get out of it. The idea that organisations can get more funding working with a disabled artist makes us like a pity situation. And the idea that for instance, like the Met or the other galleries, Smithsonian. If Smithsonian contacted me and said, Clark, we want to work with you, right? As Clark Reynolds, not as a blind as a Clark Reynolds. That would be huge. That would break barriers, and that it just takes a big organisation to look past. I hate the word disability. I hate it. The word disability.
I know.
All right. Why can't I work with the likes of Google in New York or Apple in California? I can do that.
Yes, absolutely. So Moses, you can speak on this, but we don't like the word disability either. But it's hard not to use it because it is the term that society says we need to use. Moses calls us X-Men because if you think about it, we like my eyes look different, right? Or I use a guide dog or I use a cane. So I look different. And the first thing is fear. I actually just had a conversation with somebody last night about people looking different and why fear is like the first thing. And it's true with X-Men, right? And we really do have superpowers, Clark.
Yes.
We can cross, busy streets without looking. We can, we can go. I can go from here over to England to visit you without sight. We do have superpowers because, but society, there's a fear when they look at us. Yeah. And that's the same thing with X-Men, right? When you look at there's a whole genre of movies out there about X-Men and how the world is afraid of them, even though they need them. We need X-Men.
That's right.
The world is afraid of them, and they, put them in behind bars, and
I think the great model, right, for the creative industry. So all creative industry, not just like as an artist, but all creative industry. We should look at the sports model. So the coverage that the Paralympics and the Invictus Games have brought to the world. we don't see them as disabled athletes. We see them as athletes in their own right.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of model that the creative industry should look towards. So the idea is maybe, if I was to be collaborate with Jeff Koons, for instance,
Yes.
the big American artist. Imagine
Right.
Yes.
you were talking about the dog. Imagine if I did my dots on one of his dog sculptures, for instance,
Yeah.
right? That would be a great collaboration, and that's the way forward. To we're all artists. We all take from different sides of our personality. So that's the only way we're going to break down the
Oh, I
stigma
love
attached to
that. I
disabled
love
arts.
that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think you're onto something. It's like the Renaissance in Paris, right? It was all the artists hanging out together, and what was it in New York? Or even writing. Yeah, like
the factory.
Yeah, exactly. So it's and I do think that people with disabilities, we've been pushed to the sidelines so much throughout history that it is taking people like you and like Chloe and so many people that come on this podcast is we do need to create a community and build on that because that's where change happens, right? And I think we've all been pushed to the sidelines and hidden away and, in the closets and in the attics. And we really need to be out there. We need to, be, like with you and with Chloe, like having shows and, showing yes, I happen to be blind or low vision, but I'm an artist first. And I think that...
Yeah, and obviously, being seen, that leads me straight into, like you planned it, into the book next year, which is Mr. Dot and his Magical White Cane Adventures, which hopefully the idea to inspire the next generation of VIP children, that they can achieve anything they want. Also, that the white cane is not a disability tool; it's independent.
Absolutely.
It can be anything they want it to be. And to have and we make mistakes as blind people like everyone else makes mistakes, right? Just that we and I'm really looking forward to see where Mr. Dot takes me because it's just the first of many books I can believe.
I cannot wait till it comes out. Do you know when the publication is going to come out?
So it's been illustrated amazingly by a young woman. She's done really a good job for me. If you know the Tintin books, I very much like Tintin basically, which is really cool.
Awesome.
It's but the struggle I've got is to turn it into a Braille book that would sit on any bookshelf in any major bookstore without being binder. Now I don't want it to be a binder book. I want it to be a normal book that any child picks up and picks it up and reads it. Oh my God, it's got Braille in, right? Because
that's right.
Why not? So that's my stumbling block.
It is so true. Every book that you get, it's this ugly looks like. I will connect you with somebody though. Her name is Anne Cunningham, and Anne, I know you're a fan of the podcast too. Anne Cunningham, she's sighted. She has 20/20 vision, but her passion is to create books for kids so that they actually, similar to what you're saying, Clark, is that it looks like all the other kids' books, or even adult books, right? It's like why do our books have to be ugly?
well, there's a bit. So it's all poem form. So the idea is illustrated, of course, but the idea is the illustrations are for the dumb sighted people. You don't pay attention, and the words, you listen to the words and they give you the image, and I think that's really important. And there's like there's like visual Braille. So the back of it. So the book is about this dinosaur, right? So we have a dinosaur in the UK called Dippy, a fossil, and so I've got Dippy's lost a bone. So we use my suit. We go back in time and find Dippy's bone by traveling on 3 dinosaurs. Right. So in the book there'll be paw prints of Braille cells. So that'd be visual. So the idea is you can share this book with your uncle, your granddad. You can read it to them. They can read it to you. But then they'll start learning Braille to find out what the message is.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
So I'll give you the first page. Right? So it goes, Mr. Dot is my name and I have a white cane. It's magic and it helps me to see. I tap through the day to find my own way, which means that I can be free.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Wow. And that metaphorically applies to every kid out there.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
yeah. Well, and I love the positiveness that you're giving the white cane because, I mean, I think every blind kid out there and adult, when we first start having to use that white cane, it's embarrassing. Like Moses always. Because I use a white cane, but I also have I have a guide dog, and when I walk down the street with my guide dog, people are attracted to me. Like they're like, "Oh, what a pretty dog! Oh, that's amazing! Oh, look at him! Da, da, da.
Yeah.
What's his name?" You know, they want to meet me. They want to meet the dog. If I walk down that exact same street with a white cane, it is like the Bride of Frankenstein,
Yeah.
and they're grabbing their children and pulling them out of the way. You know, they're hugging the wall. They're
Yes.
jumping into planters, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
and
a scene out of Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, it's like Moses parting the sea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I
So,
get you. I love my white cane. I mean, when I first got
Yes.
my white cane, I only had the one. Foolish of me, of course, and I broke it. It snapped. Right. I thought they were a bit stronger made, material. But anyway, I had to wait 6 weeks to get my new one, and I was like, oh my god, I've lost my right arm. I just, so now
Yes.
I've got 4 of them, and they've all got different attachments depending on where I'm going on the day.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now that would be, we should send the message out that all the teenagers who want to rebel and get their parents upset, they should get white canes. And so that everybody has got a white cane walking down the school halls.
That's
So
right.
it's interesting. So like when you have World Book Day coming up, you have it in America
Yes.
as well, don't you? Right. So
Yes.
can you imagine? Right, I say I hate the word normal, but again, normal
know.
children
Yeah.
dressing up as Mr. Dot with a white cane. That would be amazing.
That would be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
We could do that at the Halloween up in Estes.
That's right.
There's this little town up in the mountains has a major celebration that gets thousands of people for trick or treating, and everybody wears costumes. So
You'd have to invite me. You'd have to invite me to Colorado
Absolutely.
as Mr. Dot, so I can experience a proper American Halloween.
Exactly.
that would be fun.
Well, Clark, how do people find out more about you and what you're doing and where to get your book and where your shows are?
Yeah, so my website is Seeing Without Seeing, so SEEING, Seeing Without Seeing, all one word, .com. And my Instagram at the moment is Clark Reynolds Official, but I'm going to go for a massive change, so keep an eye out on my Instagram for changes. And I know it sounds strange, but if you just Google Clark Reynolds
Yes.
or the Blind Braille artist, right, there's 4 pages of me before you get to anyone else. So
Yes, and I can
Yeah.
say that's true because that's what I did.
Wow. No, because everybody.
I love when we have a guest on. Yes, I have your basics, kind of the big stuff, but I always like to dig and, kind of find out those little gem stories or those places where you've been that kind of add to the whole picture. So, but yeah, there's lots and lots of stuff out there about you.
We could talk for hours upon hours because it feels like I've known you for weeks, and that's the kind of person I am, right? And I just love the being honest about who I am as a person.
Yes.
Because if someone listens to this and thinks, you know what, that Clark, he's got a level head. He may be crazy Brit, but blindness is not the end, and that's key.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, in fact, that's what's so exciting about this podcast, because it's made a believer out of me that blindness is actually, for so many of the people we're interviewing, it's the beginning of an incredible career, an amazing life, and it's people just don't realize that. And yes, you're going to go through that, 1 to 3 years of darkness. But man, when you come out of it, you were the person you always wanted to be.
Yeah.
So on one of my dungarees, I've got the slogan in Braille, and it reads, "Art is my light as my world is getting darker."
Oh,
I can relate to that. Yeah, no joke.
yeah,
No
absolutely.
joke.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, Clark, what would people are listening to this all over the world, and what is, and some of them are blind, low vision, just like us, but many of them are not. What would you like to leave our audience with today?
I think that the determination and the passion for what you do, no matter what you do in life, and also dreams, if you have a dream as a 6-year-old child, and you're still fulfilling that dream as a 44-year-old man, you're doing something right, and it doesn't matter about your abilities, if you can see, you can't see, we've only got one life, so let's live it to the fullest.
Amen.
Yep. Boy, truth to that. Wow.
Amen. Well, in the spring, Moses and I are going across the pond. And so we are going to reach out and see maybe we can collaborate on something while we're over there.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Let's start that community, right? Let's make this happen. And everybody out there, if you're an artist, it's community is so important, and I think it does just sometimes take that first step of reaching out to somebody else, and definitely check out Clark's website, Seeing Without Seeing, and that's .com. And I know your contact info is on there.
Yeah, it's all on there. Yeah, anyone can email me. I always answer back. And I think that's. When you get to this point, you can inspire the next generation. You should take your time and reply, to all the fan mail. I quite like it, the fan mails, I call it. Yeah. Why not?
I love it. Well, Clark, this has been such a treat.
Yes.
Today is actually a really hard day for me. It's the 10-year anniversary of my brother passing away. And so, but his whole thing was be strong, hold your head up and be strong. And the interview with you today was just exactly what I needed to get through this day.
Oh, thank you. Well, my brother passed away coming up to 7 years ago in April. He died on the street corner, but my daughter shares the same birthday as my brother.
Oh.
Wow.
What a gift.
I know.
What a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift.
It's one that I've noticed over the years too, that a true artist, and this is, I'm thinking photographers, but in all art, is a true artist. When they're talking, they talk ideas, not technique. Like so many photographers, they go, "Well, you got to use f-stop this with ISO that," and it's like, no, just, what's your concept? What are you trying to get across? And just what the whole point of art is to enlighten the public on new concepts, new ideas, new movements, and you're well on that road. I've got so many neat ideas.
Once Donald Trump is done, I will post Jonathan the image, and he can share it around.
Absolutely.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great.
We'd love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Clark, have an amazing week. Again, thank you. I have a feeling our paths are going to cross again soon. This has been such a treat, and everybody out there, be kind to yourself this week, and remember to be kind to somebody else. It's good for your soul.